Start with an opening statement from the coach, and then we'll take questions.
All right, good to see everybody. I want to make sure I have this right because we've got a big weekend here in Tucson in terms of athletics. All right, first of all, tonight we got our women's volleyball team is taking on Utah at 6 o'clock. So get out there, rally the troops, cheer them on. Baseball, we have the start of the Mexican baseball fiesta. Need to let them in? Go ahead, man. We started early, didn't we? All right, which I think that's super cool. Baseball's getting going. Swimming and diving is hosting the red and blue meet tomorrow. Coach Lohr's and that crew, which is just a really good group of people. And then men's basketball with the Red Blues Showcase. And, I think that thing's going to be super interesting. Obviously, there's a lot of excitement for our basketball team, but also the post game. What I'm most excited about, I'm excited about DJ Tom E. getting on the turntables, letting it rip on Bear Down Field tomorrow night. Now, I'm not going to be there for that, but I'm confident that DJ Tom E. and Mixmaster Mike and Shaq will have that thing jumping. We're also really excited to welcome Gronk back to campus. I think it's awesome whenever you have any former player, any NFL player or any former player that comes back to be here for a game, to be here as an honorary captain. Obviously, he's a super high-profile player, going to be an NFL Hall of Famer, but also just a great Wildcat and a great guy. So it's a big time weekend here, in Tucson, and we're excited to play. I talked a lot with you guys about our red line response and what that's going to look like. And for me, I know that our team is going to play hard. I believe that. But what that red line response that I'm looking for is I'm looking for what that looks like in terms of our execution, throughout the game in all three phases and on third down on both sides of the ball. The players have had a great week of work, really intentional. Yesterday was our fastest practice of the season in terms of speed on the field, which I was excited about. And Tuesday was our highest player load. So guys are getting after it. And I think that's something this team cares about each other. They love the U of A, and they're excited to play on Saturday.
Thank you, Coach. We'll start with Justin and then Michael.
Considering, they let go of their defensive coordinator, is this, kind of a situation where I guess the Oklahoma State's defense is going to be a little bit unpredictable, or do you think because of the timing of letting him go that it's going to be somewhat the same?
I don't know. You should ask him. That would help us out. I don't know. I think you have to be ready for anything. But at the end of the day, we have to do a great job of making adjustments in game. And that really doesn't, you have to do that every game, right? That one, this situation is obviously a little bit different, but we know that they've got great football coaches on that staff. They've got great personnel, and they'll be ready to play.
And then as far as, because they let go of Gundy and their whole coaching situation, do you feel like they're going to play desperate? Like, just how do you feel like they'll approach this game?
I don't know. I feel like that would be just too speculative. I don't, you know what I mean? Like, I'm going into this thing expecting them to give us their best shot. I'm expecting them to be ready to play in all three phases. And I know that in order for us to play the kind of football we want to play, we have to be locked in and totally dialed into red line. And so whatever they do is what they do, and we have to adjust and play through it.
Michael and Brian.
So I think there have been 4 schools that have moved on from their coaches before the calendar hit October 1st. There's a lot of reasons why an administration would do that, but kind of the side effect is that it enables players to enter the portal during the season. But in general, what do you make of that and how it can impact a program?
God, that's a good question. I think we are moving, kind of in terms of the NCAA, college football, in a direction with the portal that is making it cleaner, and I think something that will be positive for the game when we finally get to this is what it is and this is how we're moving forward. I think anytime you go through a situation like that, it's extremely complicated, and it's complicated for everybody involved, right? I don't know how big their football staff is, but I'm guessing it's more than 50 people, and I'm assuming those 50 people all have families. I'm assuming there's 120, 115 players on that football team, and those players all have hopes and dreams of, playing great football in college and having a chance to be an NFL player. So anytime any of those things happen, it's just a very, very complicated thing. And whether players choose to go in the portal or not, I think everybody understands it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think you don't want that. Like is I look, I can only look at it through the lens of like our team. Would I want that? Of course not. Of course not. You want everybody committed to the U of A. You want everybody committed to Redline. You want everybody absolutely committed to what we're doing here, building a sustainable, consistent, winning football program every damn year. And if everyone's jumping in and out all the time, I don't know how you do that, regardless of the circumstances.
Brian and then Justin.
With the noon kickoff and the warm temperatures and all that, I know that you've kind of mentioned that you
Let's go.
You want to take advantage of the heat that's here, but how do you also make it so that it doesn't become a negative for your own team?
We practice every day in the heat. You know what I mean? We're outside every day in the heat, in the direct sunlight at that time of day. I don't know how else you can address it. I'll tell you this, if you let it be an excuse for your football team, it will be. You know what I mean? Like that part of it. But, I think, every day we practice in that. I love it. I love the idea of wake up, take a shower, brush your teeth, have something to eat, and let's go play, versus just waiting all day to play. I think it's awesome for our fans. I think our fans can rally. I think Zona Zoo, right? Like, if I'm in college, let's get the party started at 8 a.m., man. Let's get this thing going. We got to kick off at noon. You know what I'm saying? So I think the Zona Zoo, we love you. You guys are awesome. Every week you show up, you give us energy, you guys rock, and I can't wait to see what they put on Saturday. And then our fans here, I think it gives them a great chance to get out here because, it's kind of a catch-22. You hear the games were played so late. I get that. It's going to be hot. Well, I get that too, right? But really, there's a big-time college football game happening here on Saturday, and it's going to be an awesome event, and it's going to be an awesome experience. And, Hispanic Heritage Game, and the halftime show with the Pride of Arizona, and the mariachis, and the Folklorico, and all these people coming together to put on this great show for Tucson. People need to show up for that. It's special.
Justin and then Jason.
Well, speaking of the Hispanic Heritage Game, Sam Olson talked about his Hispanic heritage and his background, his upbringing. Have you had a chance to really get to know his family?
Yeah, because we've been with Sam for a long time. Obviously Sam was with us at San Jose, and has been a really good player and a really good just teammate, and been on this journey with us for a long time. They're just special people.
And how has he gone about leading the tight end group this year, especially considering it's his last year?
Yeah, absolutely. I think what's cool when you see those players grow up and you're with them for the whole time, and we're not talking about the portal, Michael, you know what I mean? Like when you get to see their journey, and they're, you're a part of it and they're a part of you for that 5 years, what it's been with Sam, maybe 6 now. This might be a sixth year. It is special, and you do get to see them grow and develop. And sometimes players walk in the front door as a freshman and they've got all kinds of confidence and charisma, and they're able to lead as freshmen. But really, to me, like, you get that incredible leadership from guys that have been in the fight, guys that have played the games, been in the big moments, been there on the tough days, been there on the good days. And Sam's one of those guys. And so he's an awesome teammate. He's a really good leader for our team. He's a consistent show up, bust his ass, everyday guy. He lives Redline, and we appreciate him for it.
Last year there wasn't much depth on the roster at some positions. It was kind of you had to play who you had to play. This year there's a little bit more depth. How does that impact your coaching decisions, and then maybe the players on the field as well?
Well, I would say in terms of impacting the coaching decisions, we're going to play the best guy. So that's a pretty straightforward approach to that. And I think the players know that all those decisions in terms of playing time are based on practice and proving it, right? Redline, proving it in practice. And so, the decision for that, or those decisions are made based on what we see, day in and day out from those players. I think having depth, I think Geiska Crowley and Fletcher Kelly have done a great job, with our roster, along with the assistant coaches and everybody that's involved in recruiting. And recruiting is not just one or two guys, right? Recruiting is every single person in our building all day, every day, right? That does not stop. And so many people have helped us get this roster healthy and in a good spot. And then I think, for our players, I think the best way for it to be is for them to know that it's based on competition. And if we are competing our tails off every single day in practice, we're going to elevate that. Like, we want those players to feel that pressure. We want them to feel that high-level competition, because that's going to raise everybody's standard of play.
And then Last week, Oklahoma State used Sam Jackson, threw 4 passes or so, completely different look. When something like that isn't on film, how do you go about preparing for that possibility?
I think that's hard. It comes down to eye discipline, right, and everybody doing their job. And I think that part of it is really hard. But also, I got faith in Coach G and that staff and those players on that side of the ball. And I think, if we'll play with the kind of effort that we're capable of playing and everybody is totally locked into their assignment and doing their job, not trying to make a play, but doing their job with Redline, then I think we'll be able to be in a good spot for those things. But those plays are always hard, and they executed them really well, in that game.
Michael and Justin.
Sort of following up on what Justin was talking about earlier with kind of Oklahoma State's approach to this game. Their coach said last week that he just wanted them to go out and have fun. Like fun was a word that he emphasized a lot, so you get the sense that they're going to be kind of loose and maybe nothing to lose, whereas you guys are expected to win this game based on the records, based on the point spread, which I know is not something that you're directly involved in or talk about, but does any of that play into the psyche of your team, or is that just like a media narrative?
I think it all plays into everything because everyone has so much access to our players now. Our players have so much access to information now, like all those things. To me, it still comes back to us really living the red line. Are we playing with 100 effort? Are we executing at an incredibly high level? You know what I mean? Are we accountable for how we play, how we prepare, how we recover, like all these things leading up to game time so that we can keep building momentum every single day? I think that it's really more with all that, there's always all that stuff swirling out there. It doesn't really matter what week it is. There's always all that stuff out there. So for our players, can we really focus on our process and really be locked into what we have to get done right now? And then the next moment and the next moment and stay locked into that space. I think that gives us a better chance to play the kind of football we want to play.
I think Mahdi is top 5 in the league right now in rushing. What do you notice about how he's been able to really turn it up over the last couple of games?
No, I mean, Izzy is just it's funny, I asked him because everyone, he has all these nicknames, right? Mahdi, Ish, Izzy. So I finally asked him, what do you prefer? And he said, Izzy. I'm like, okay, good. All right, we can go with that. So maybe that helps y'all. But he's an awesome kid, super, super intentional, has been that way since he showed up here. He's super well liked, but also well respected by the team because of how he works. And I think, some of the production you're seeing from him is a great reflection of him living the red line. You know what I mean? He's totally a high effort player. He's totally intentional about his execution and knowing what to do and being right assignment wise. And then he's also an own it, fix it. When he makes a mistake, he's a guy that can fix it quickly, which I think is really important. I think that's one of those struggles that young people have, right now, where when they make a mistake, they have trouble recovering, mentally and emotionally from the mistake. And really, the mistake, we can live with one mistake. How quickly can you get back on track and do your job with Redline? And Mahdi's a guy that does that every time.
The own it, fix it part is a good example of that, the opening kickoff and then how he was able to answer after that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, that part of it, that's a big deal. The ball security thing is something that we are dead serious about around here. And, every play he's supposed to hand the ball to the official. And in that play he didn't.
How's Zach Ciulepa looked out in practice, and do you think we might see him make his debut on Saturday?
Yeah, there's always a chance. He's because he got here so late. He's it's in the process of us getting him into shape and getting him acclimated and getting him settled on what we're doing schematically. And so he's a really talented kid. He's obviously a big man, and we think he can help us. So we're excited about Zach. I think you're going to see him play. It just depends on how, as practice continues this week, because we still have another really important opportunity for practice tonight, just how solid is he with the scheme, and can he be right when he lines up?
And can you elaborate a little bit on what you meant earlier when you said the fastest practice and the highest load and all that?
Yeah, so we have all that catapult data, that our players all wear, with the bibs, and so we have that data, and it's been going on the entire season. And so Tuesday was our highest player load, which means it's just like the biggest load of work on average per player. And then yesterday was our fastest practice, which I was excited about. The players are getting after it. This is important to them.
Fastest meaning like the average speed?
Average speed. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody.
Bear down.